I'm on the trail of the Old Ghan rail route between Port Augusta and Alice Springs. My goal was to provide a visual record of as many of the sidings, fettlers cottages and other rail infrastructure that I can identify between those two places. Many of the places I've visited are accessible to any who have the means to get to them and are in close vicinity to the major road networks of the state of South Australia. Others are on private pastoral land, and I've sought and received permission to access them from the various landowners and or managers. In every case, I've been welcomed and have received the greatest hospitality from them, and I've been able to gain access to some wonderfully forgotten ruins that not many people get to see. In the previous episode, we visited Wilson, Hawker, Kulkida, Nilpena and the unique Nilpena culverts. Stay with me now as we continue the journey and move further north along the Old Ghan line. We now approach a section of the line that runs alongside the main bitumen road that goes north, known as the Outback Way, for the next 50 kilometres. Along this section there are 6 Old Ghan locations: Edowie, Brachina, Commodore, Parachilna, an unnamed Fettler's cottage and Nilpena. Almost all of these are just rubble, with those that have anything still standing suffering from being just metres off the road and having attracted vandals and souvenir hunters. The first of these is Edowie Siding. Okay, we're coming into Edowie. Not so much as a siding there, but certainly a ruin. We'll go and have a look at that. Probably frightened the bejeebers out of that bloke in the van. Well, this is where Edowie Siding was reputed to have been. So again, might have just been a station master's house or something. The Ghan line is just the other side of it. We'll go and have a look at that in a second. It's difficult to see where the line actually was, but I'm going to use the evidence of a rail spike to suggest it's along this line here, which gives some relevance to this ruin as being part of it, and I'm going to call it Edowie Siding. Okay, nice stonework. Oh, a bird just flew out from the wall beside my head. Made me jump. Oh, the flies haven't abated one iota. The wind is keeping them down a little bit. Makes it difficult for them to fly, as it were. Again, it's the crumbling of the base that inevitably means their downfall, literally. It's a shame. Outside it has a well. Yeah, it looks to be, it's quite a deep sucker. I wouldn't like to fall into it. Beautiful view on a on a sunset, for a sunset, with those hills lighting up. Okay, Edowie. Although this is some 30 metres from the railway line itself, it's certainly some sort of platform. Loading ramp or something, although it's not sloped. Certainly old enough to be back in the day. The actual line is about there. It's a little distant from that ruin that I identified as Edowie, but it would certainly be associated with it. So possibly not the siding, otherwise it'd be right beside the line, I'd have thought. There is a big hunk of Ghan metal down here. And there's lots of rubble, bricks and stuff around the place. Certainly indicate there were other buildings around here. I think there's enough here to say railway siding with station house, to call it. Now this is the area identified as Brachina Siding. It's a very confused, there's a lot of rail structure here. The fact that it was a railway place is absolutely no doubt. It's very confusing as to what's what. There's some very old sleepers here, which have been again. But what makes it confusing is this is where the Lee Creek, the line that used to go to Lee Creek for the coal mine. It's where it joins up, and the Ghan sort of comes in here somewhere as well and joins up. This gauge of this railway here is way too wide to be Ghan. This looks like standard gauge. The Ghan was very narrow, 3'6", way narrower than that. But somewhere along here, I'd suggest that the Ghan line was removed and the one for Lee Creek was put in its place. There's a lot of rubble here, a lot of dog spikes, a lot of old sleepers. There's certainly some sort of junction. Obviously the Lee Creek line is obviously no longer in use either, so they're both defunct. And I can't see any date nails either, which I'm looking for. Date nails are nails that they used to drive into sleepers with the year they were laid embossed on them, so they could tell how old the sleeper was, how long it had been there and when it needed replacing. I think the oldest one I found only goes back to the 70s, so they may not have even been in use when this line was laid. But yeah, I'd reckon this is the line of the Ghan. These really old ones here next to it. Laid a new track right next to it. So we'll call this Brachina. Not sure what this was. When I walked over, I thought perhaps the base of a standpipe for water, but perhaps not. I don't know, it's got a cap on it for some reason, so something comes out of it if that cap was off. So I just assumed water. Could be wrong. Google Earth shows a myriad of tracks all around this place, going in circles and what have you. So yeah, a lot went on here one time. Oh, there's a bit of original rail perhaps. Well, even that's too wide for the Old Ghan. But I don't know. The highway is just over there. Well, this is all that's left of Commodore, just one standing wall and a bunch of rubble. Still the distinctive Ghan siding of two separate dwelling buildings with 5 or 6 rooms, single rooms each. Yeah, but it's mostly no good. I have to admit that I thought there would be far more here at Parachilna than I actually encountered. The original station house is still here, although it's lost its signboard. It also has some line and a goods platform. The whole yard has been fenced off, so you can no longer wander around there. The tank has also been removed, although the supports still remain. Public safety issue, I'd assume, as this is still a big tourist draw and pretty well always has people wandering around checking out the attractions, with the Prairie Hotel being a big draw card. This particular collection of Fettler's cottages doesn't have a name. There is cottages mentioned being 1 kilometre from Parachilna, but presently this is 9.5 kilometres, so perhaps someone dropped a 0 off and it should have been 10. But anyway, it's even there, it's only listed as Fettler's cottages. But for all that anonymity, it's one of the best preserved places. Some of it's a bit ratty. It's got most of its walls. The walls down the bottom are smoky. To give away in the immediate future. Must be right on the highway there. Something as much bigger than this as you can possibly get. The fireplace is still in good nick. One of those asked you had to kiss to get a room with a fireplace in it. And the second half hasn't fared so well though. It's just a shell. This collection too has one of those unexplained pits or tanks, an underground room, 3 or 4 metres. I knew what they were for. This siding is within 250 odd metres of where I calculated Nilpena would have been, so I'm going to say this is it. So there's something here, the Ghan track is immediately behind it there. Nilpena is one that's about 5 kilometres away, associated with the Lee Creek coal train. sidings that have been here. What's left of Nilpena. The next stop wasn't marked on any map I had, nor mentioned in any of the lists of sidings that I'd found. But nevertheless came to my attention while studying the route in detail on Google Earth. That sure looks like the remains of a fettler's cottage to me, but which only a ground reconnaissance would confirm. This is another site that wasn't mentioned on the list of Ghan stations and sidings that I had, but which appeared as a ruin right beside the Ghan line, which is right here. You can see the sleepers of the line just there. And it trundles off up there. It comes past, right past that concrete blockhouse, with presumably another one of those subterranean rooms underneath it. The ruins seem to be in two pieces, as you would expect a fettler's cottage set out layout to be, left and a right. This indeed does have a cavity beneath it. Lost count of how many of these things I've found now, probably 6 or 7. Interior walls have been whitewashed. Proof positive, I say. No, I'm going to put this down as the fettler's cottage. Unnamed, unmarked. It's just here. And not always a good idea to walk around these sort of places staring in a lens. So if I seem to go out of shot for some reason, it's because I'm not looking when I'm shooting, but when I'm putting my feet. Of the two structures would have been here, there, where you're looking at. Odd arrangement for the floor. What's going on there? Perhaps it's a wall that's fallen sideways. This one hasn't been crafted out of stone rather than just local rocks. Concreted together. An unnamed Ghan ruin. North of the last siding, which was Nilpena on the old Beltana road. The Old Ghan railway line to Beltana was opened in July 1881 and turned the little town's economy on its head as construction workers, sleeper cutters and teamsters arrived en masse. The railway station, its goods shed, a crew quarters and a 5 million gallon dam, that's almost 23 million litres, were built. In the 40s, up to 60 trains passed through Beltana each week. But the growth of Lee Creek in the late 1940s and early 50s saw Beltana decline. The increased need for coal and the fact that the line through here passed over some pretty but hilly countryside meant that the trains struggled to haul the coal through them. In 1956, the Ghan Railway was updated to standard gauge and realigned 10 kilometres west of here, alongside the present highway. The railway station survived as a general store from 1969 to as late as 1984. But sadly, when the work began to dry up and folks started moving away, Beltana withered from its heyday. And according to the 2016 census, it's now home to only 26 residents. Tune in to the next episode where I visit the last few stations of this trip to finish at Lyndhurst and get me set at the start point for the next portion, the central sidings from Farina all the way up to the South Australian Northern Territory border.